Welcome to my channel Civil Knowledge, my dear students. So today in this session we will discuss about the module 1 under your subject, that is elements of civil engineering and mechanics, and under your module 1 the first unit is introduction to civil engineering. So this chapter is full of theory, okay? So it is just an introduction to the civil engineering. So what are the scopes are there, and what are the branches are there in the civil engineering, and what is the role of a civil engineer and infrastructure development. So all the things are included in this chapter, okay? So first we will see the table of contents. The contents are as follows, that is introduction to civil engineering and scope of different fields of civil engineering. So different fields are there, we will go one by one when we come through that slide. So before coming to my subject, I'll let you know, so what is this engineering? So the engineer originates from the Latin term ingenere, meaning to invent, to create, or to regulate. He is the one who invents or creates or regulates with the available resources. So it is the professional art. This whole term engineering is the professional art of applying scientific principles to everyday things to make life easier. So engineer clearly uses the available natural resources for the benefit of mankind, and he also provides comfort and makes life easier. So he also applies the scientific and mathematical knowledge and rational thinking to improve living standards. So now, how we can differentiate an engineer and a scientist? Okay. So deviation between engineers and scientists arise through the differences in the way both apply their educations in mathematical and natural sciences to their work. A scientist uses their education to acquire new knowledge. On the other hand, an engineer, with his education, he develops devices and he tries to process it. Scientist seeks to know, whereas engineer aim to do. So engineers are more practical. Okay. So now, what is this civil engineering? Okay, the civil engineering is the oldest branch of engineering next to military engineering. So all engineering works other than military purpose were grouped into the civil engineering. This civil engineering is a professional discipline that deals with the analysis, design, construction, and maintenance of infrastructural facilities such as building, bridges, dams, roads, etc. A civil engineer applies his physical, mathematical, and scientific principle for the convenience of civilization. This branch of engineering has begun between 4000 BC and 200 BC from the ancient Egypt, from the times of pyramid. Okay, this our civil engineering is from the times of pyramid. So pyramids in Egypt. So from there our civil engineering, the concept of civil engineering started, and from that ancient times we are now here. You can see that Dubai Towers at Dubai, UAE. So we improved, or we have changed our concept of designing the things. So what are the different scopes of different fields of civil engineering? So the civil engineering is a vast branch. In that we have different types of fields, that is architecture and town planning, hydraulics, water resource and irrigation engineering, building materials, remote sensing and GIS, construction technology, structural engineering, environmental engineering, surveying, geotechnical engineering, and transportation engineering. So what are these? What they are related to, we will see in the next slides. So first of all, your architecture and town planning. So this architecture and town planning mainly gives beauty. It deals the beauty of a building. So giving beauty to buildings is architecture, which enhances the appearance and also maintains the heritage. Town planning. So proper planning of towns and cities is done through the town planning. So planning the layout, planning the road, separating the commercial and residential, academics and industrial areas, planning green belt, planning sewage disposal units, planning water treatment plants and water storage units are all dealt in your architecture and town planning. So presently it is separated from civil engineering as it is a vast group, and many of the improvisation has been done in this branch and it is separated from the civil engineering. So next comes our building material. So what are this building material? Bricks, cement, concrete. Okay, this building material subject deals with the material used for the construction. So bricks, tiles, soil, cement, stone, steel, aggregates, glass, wood, plastic, etc. which are needed for the construction include in this building materials. So some are natural and some are man-made. So we can also define the materials as traditional, alternative and composite materials. What are traditional materials? Which are naturally available. Alternative building materials like mud blocks, concrete blocks, paints, glass, aluminium, paints, fly ash, etc. And you also have composite materials. Composite means any two materials are combined to form a single entity and then they are used. And also smart materials and intelligent materials are also we are studying in this branch of building materials. We will know that one by one in coming lecture. So next field is your construction technology and management. So the construction technology and management basically deals with the planning, scheduling, execution of construction activity related to a project. It also compromises men, material, time and money management. It also emphasizes will be on construction new practice, use of appropriate and local technology, safety of men and material, utilization of marginal materials, etc. So this construction technology and management gives us an idea to how to manage the available resources and to innovate new construction techniques in our civil engineering industry. So in this construction technology management, we have construction managers who review contracts, order materials and hire and schedule subcontractors. And the job of a construction manager is to provide quality control, ensure project is completed on time, and it should be within budget. Economy and safety are two main things which a civil engineer should follow. So next is environmental engineering. So the environment is the available nature around us. It includes the life support system such as water, land or soil. So in this environmental engineering deals with the technology to save nature from human and natural abuse and pollution. We have to improve the nature day by day. We should not pollute it for being a happy and healthy life. So the study involves the balanced compromise between the environment and safety. It deals with technique of water collection, purification, supply, wastewater collection, treatment and disposal. Control of all types of pollution is done by your environmental engineering. Next is geotechnical engineering. Geotechnical engineering is also called as soil engineering, soil mechanics. Okay, it is one of the youngest branch of civil engineering which involves the study of soils, its behavior and application as an engineering material. So all structures are found on ground. Forces from structures are safely transferred to the soil. It is essential to understand ground behavior and interaction between soil and structures. So one should know the interaction between the soil and structure so that he design the structure, okay, depending upon the soil characteristics so that the structure is safe on the soil. The geotechnical engineering involves the design of foundation, slopes, retaining structures, highway pavement design, embankment and earth dams, tunnels, underground structures, and deep cuts. It involves the application of principles of soil mechanics, rock mechanics, foundation engineering, and engineering geology to engineering problems involving soil and rocks. So next is, you can see in the figure, see in the first figure they are excavating the earth. Excavating means to remove the earth material, means earth means soil. Okay, here you can see here they are building a wall against the soil so that they can retain the soil. So that type of walls are called retaining soil, retaining wall, sorry. Okay, the walls which support the soil not to slide, it will not allow the soil to slide down. So that type of wall is called as retaining wall. Okay, it supports the soil. So here, to design the retaining wall also, we should study about the geotechnical properties of the soil. So next, to assess the quality of soil or rock to carry the structure, proper knowledge of geotechnical engineering is necessary for safety and stability of the structure. So to analyze and design a foundation for structure and for machine parts, see here. So this is an example of why the soil is to be studied. Okay, see, this is the foundation soil. So this is the ground level. So anything below the ground level is called as substructure. So anything below the ground level is called as substructure. Anything above the ground level is called as superstructure. Okay, so whenever we build any structure on the ground level, okay, so it will induce what? Weight. It will induce some force. So because of this force, a reaction force is developed inside the soil particles, and that reaction force is called as what? Bearing capacity of the soil. Bearing capacity of the soil. So this bearing capacity of the soil should be greater, okay, should be greater than the force it is withstanding. Okay, the force from the superstructure, the force from the superstructure should be less than bearing capacity of the soil, so that it is what? The safe condition. Okay, so this is safe condition. If the bearing capacity is less than the force applied by the superstructure, means it will make settlement. Okay, the structure will be settled under the ground level. Because of these settlements, cracks will develop in the structure. Because of this cracks, failure will happen and the structure finally collapses. Okay, so because we need to analyze the soil properties of wherever the building location is there, the soil, knowing the soil properties are very important. If suppose you think, so you have one type of soil which is having some of the bearing capacity to withstand only 2 floors of a building, but what you do, you just design a building for 5 floors, and whenever that 5 floor building is built on this ground, means it will settle down. So your money is waste, materials are waste, so everything is going to be waste. Because of that, preliminary survey or preliminary detail which to be collected before going to any project is what? We have to study the soil condition of that ground. So for this, the geotechnical engineering is very important. So foundation soil and substructure should resist forces without failure or excessive deformation. So some part of deformation is allowed so that structure can withstand, but excessive deformation results in failure of the building. So next we will see hydraulics. So hydraulics is the one of the oldest branch of science applying fundamental principles of behavior of fluid at rest or in motion. Here in the hydraulics, we mainly deals with the practical problems of flow of water. This is an applied science which is based on the results obtained from the experiments, which results in the formation of empirical formula and have very limited use. So this hydraulics is a separate field in our civil engineering, so which mainly depends upon, or which mainly we will study here, the fluid properties. The fluid properties, either the fluid is at rest or in motion, we will study its actions. Okay, its action on the surrounding conduit, so that we can know the properties of that particular fluid. See here, for example, so water is stored here. Okay, so since the water is stored, the stored water, what it will induce, it will induce the force. Okay, so this force is necessary to calculate the design of dam so that it should withstand, right? So that in that case your hydraulics is needed. Then this hydraulics is again extended. This stored water is made to flow to some of the means to run the turbine so that the power is generated. Okay, hydraulic machines. So it is a next part of hydraulic engine. It will come in the hydraulic engineering only. So hydraulic machines will come. In that we will use water. Okay, we will use some fluids so that we will use the water so to generate electricity. Okay, this part of engineering is dealt by the hydraulic engineering. So next we will see our water resource and irrigation engineering. So this water resource engineering deals with an identification and utilization of available water resources, minimizing the loss. So every water resource should be used or it should be utilized beneficially. So loss shouldn't happen. So like that, the water resource engineer will plan and use the water. As in India, it is seasonal weather condition, so that the water resource engineering and irrigation engineering very important in our country. So surface water such as river, lake water and groundwater are usually usefully managed. So this also deals with the groundwater utilization, groundwater recharge and rainwater harvesting. Okay, so due to the water is storing inside the dams, so in the locality of the dam, if there is any low depth, means the groundwater recharge can be the level of the groundwater in that locality, in that basin, we can improve by constructing the dams like that. Okay, so next we will see our irrigation engineering. So irrigation engineering deals with the water management for agricultural purpose. Okay, so irrigation engineering direct impact is on farmers, it is for agricultural purpose. So dams are constructed at desired location to store water in reservoir when the supply from river is good and utilized for useful purpose during drought. So when the supply from the river is good, then there is no need of supplying the water to the fields. But wherever the rain or the water is in scarce, where the water is not available, so from the help of dams we can run the water there for their farming purpose. Okay, so canals are built for the purpose. Okay, canals are built for transporting the water. So during excess input, water is allowed to flow through the main river through the body of the dam to avoid flooding. So during excessive input, water is allowed to main river through the body of the dam to avoid flooding. So whenever there is a moment of flood, then they will not make the structure to be affected. They will just leave the water to flow through the river. So we'll see some of the points, some of the scope of irrigation engineering. So scope of irrigation engineering can be divided into two heads. One is engineering aspects and another one is agricultural aspect. So engineering aspect deals with the storage of water by constructing dam and reservoir. So diversion of stored water to canal for distribution. So lifting of water by digging wells and fed to small channels. So conveyance of water to agricultural fields by suitable distribution system like planting for subsoil, irrigation, sprinkler, drip irrigation. So these are all engineering aspects. So from these techniques, the farmer can grow the crops by using minimum use of water. So what quantity of water is required by the crop? So that much water is given to the crop and the crop is yielded. So next is agricultural aspect. This deals with the distribution of water uniformly and periodically to maintain proper depth of water for crops. So capacity of different soils for irrigation water, reclamation of waste and alkaline lands can be improved by using the irrigation engineering. So benefits of irrigation. So due to the irrigation, so increase in food production by applying scientific methods for optimum quantity of water to the crops can be seen. So protection from famine, as it is maintain water supply during drought. Okay, wherever the water is not available, if the rain is not if the rain is low, then we can use the water from the dams such that we can protect from famine. So cultivation of crops such as cash crops such as sugarcane, cotton, etc. can be grown. Improvement in groundwater storage can be increased wherever we see the irrigation project. Okay, so India being an agricultural country, irrigation will definitely help in overall development of our country. So by this, I conclude my session here. So thank you for watching the video.